This is TV80 and you're watching CNBC TV80.
Hello and welcome to Eye on India, special CNBC TV18 broadcast. I'm Shireen Bhan. The GST Council's meeting on the 5th of August was high on news value and also had a dose of controversy. The council decided to hike the cap on cess on cars from 15% to 25%, leading to protests from automakers who called it anti-business and anti-make in India. The other big move was the decision to set up anti-profiteering committees at the central and state levels, and that we understand could happen over the next fortnight or so. But how exactly will these committees work, and how soon can we see actions being taken on complaints? Third, the council also approved the e-way bill mechanism that promises to smoothen intra and interstate transportation. It will also mean the end of long lines at border checkposts. While it sounds great on paper, the government is yet to announce a date and the roadmap for its implementation. Well, joining me today to take forward some of those issues is Mahendra Singh, member of the GST for the Central Board of Excise and Customs, or CBEC, Hari Shankar Subramaniam, partner and national leader, indirect tax at EY. And in a short while from now, we'll also be joined by Naveen Kumar, Chairman of the Goods and Services Tax Network, or the GST. And gentlemen, appreciate you joining us here on the show. Mr. Singh, let me start by asking you about the decisions that were taken on the 5th of August. And let me ask you about the most controversial one, and that has to do with hiking the cap on cess on automobiles from 15% to 25%. Now, what was the rationale behind that? It's barely been a month since the GST rollout has happened. Obviously, you had worked in some calculations, and it seems now to suggest that perhaps it was done in a hurry. So, industry not happy with this decision. What is the rationale behind this?
Actually, it's not like that. Rationalization of rates of the taxes is nothing new. It keeps on happening all the time. And this is actually one of the major part of the annual budget making exercise also. So rates keep on coming up and down. So there is absolutely nothing wrong about it. And government, the main purpose of the government is to see that the rates are actually practical. They are whenever the rates are hiked or they are lowered, the decision is taken by the fitment committee, which comprises of senior officers of the CBEC and the state governments. And the decisions, the recommendations made by the fitment committee are based on empirical data. So on the basis of data and study, they make recommendations, and the decision has been taken by the GST Council. GST Council consists of all the finance ministers of the state and the union finance minister.
So this begs the question, Mr. Singh, that if the fitment committee had looked at empirical data and then put forward its recommendations, then why is it that barely in a month's time you feel the need to actually move an amendment to change the cess? It's not just with automobiles, it happened with cigarettes in the past as well. And hence, I'm asking you the question that this goes against the promise of the government of providing a stable tax environment. What is it, and why is it that the fitment committee seems to have gotten its calculations so wrong?
You can't say it is wrong. Actually, the deliberations take place and some of the points get missed also sometimes. So whenever they come to notice, then these corrective measures are taken all the time. This is nothing new about it. And the basic purpose of the government is to see in the new GST regime, the incidence of taxation is kept at the same par which was pre-GST regime. So that is the main concern. And whenever these aberrations are noticed, then corrective measures are taken. This is one of the corrective measures. The earlier,
I understand that the principle of equivalence has been followed by the fitment committee and by the GST Council, sir. But, the question now is, when do we see this being operationalized? And also, what is going to be the exact quantum of the hike? Because the decision to, the amendment to move from 15% to 25%, which is an enabling provision at this point in time, the exact quantum has not been decided or discussed, I am given to understand. Give me a sense of what we should expect.
You will appreciate that when the GST was introduced, Then states were making complaint that there will be loss of revenue to the states, and for this compensation cess was introduced, and different rates for different commodities were introduced. So under the law there was a cap of 15% on the luxury cars. So it was felt that this 15% cap is to be enhanced, and the cap has been enhanced to 25%. Now when the actual levy will come, that nobody can tell today. It will come, and we'll all get to know about it.
Okay, but it will come, we'll get to know. But the next meeting of the GST Council is on the 9th of September. So the question that the auto industry is asking is that will we have to wait till the 9th of September, or is there going to be a sense of urgency that the government will exercise and in fact perhaps even move an ordinance because there is very little time left in the monsoon session for the government to try and move an amendment?
Timing, actually I will not be able to comment at this point in time. But the decision has been taken to raise the cap from 15 to 25%, and it will be implemented.
Okay, I'll come back to you now on the e-way bill mechanism, which was the other decision that was taken, sir. But let me bring in Hari. Hari, this has not gone down well as far as industry is concerned. We've promised a predictable, certain tax environment. Barely within a month's time, you're now actually moving an amendment to hike the cap from 15% to 25%. We don't know when it's going to be operationalized. Industry making representations to the government, asking it to reconsider. Do you believe that the only relief likely is that it won't be all the way to 25, perhaps somewhere in the middle?
So before I even come into what they might do, the issue that has happened, whether it was cigarettes or this was, the fundamental equivalence concept was somewhere from a calculation point of view not maintained, That's okay. That might be an argument, which could be an argument from the government side. But the situation is, you come and do those changes in a month and a half, then you're disrupting various business models. You're disrupting various business plans. That is the worry, Now, as regards 25%, you're right. If they put 25%, so if you put that at mid-level cars, then the rate will actually go higher than what the rate is today.
Yeah.
So that's where the conundrum is going to be. It could be true for the larger cars or SUVs, if I say so. So they'll have to come and do something which is in between. My personal belief is it may not be 25.
Okay.
It could be lower than 25. That could be a cap.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether they will wait till 9th of September, because if this has been noticed, they may probably go the ordinance route, is what my sense is, though I don't know what will be the outcome or when will that outcome be. But the sense is they may go for an ordinance move. But what is the issue is that you could have made an error of judgment, which is fair. But then when you make these changes, then it creates that much of problems.
And the fear now is that have they got it wrong perhaps on aerated beverages?
I really don't want to comment on the category of goods, but this kind of an error could have happened, and then you get into a different scenario altogether, So somewhere the stability factor becomes a problem.
Stability has been a casualty. But Mr. Singh, let me come back to you now, and let's talk about the other decision that was taken by the GST Council. E-way bills will be operationalized. The question is, when will it be operationalized? What is the broad timeline that you are working with? Because what we are getting to hear is that it could be rolled out around the 1st of October.
Once the e-way bill comes into effect, all the documents will actually, they'll be done away with. And the only document will be invoice of the goods and e-way bill. E-way bill, there is a lot of concern about the e-way bill also, but I want to make it clear today that e-way bill actually will help the dealers. Once you have generated your e-way bill at the time of dispatch of the goods, and it is carried with the vehicle, whenever the checking takes place, the e-way bill can be just flashed, and you will have a smooth crossover from state to state and from place to place. So it will actually help the dealers. It will be smooth transportation of goods throughout the country, and it will be a borderless transportation.
Yes, you're saying that invoices, etc., will be done away with. But again, sir, broad timeline that you're working with, and the other comment that the GST the decision that the GST Council did take was that there will be no check posts nationwide. But the Finance Minister did allude to the fact that states will be free to conduct randomized checks. Now, we've seen what's already happened with these mobile squads, leading to the concern that there will be confusion and harassment.
These checks are part of the, effort by the state government and the central government to detect evasion. You will appreciate it, you will agree with me, there are unscrupulous elements also. So these checks are necessary. But when the e-way bill comes into effect, and when a carrier, a vehicle is, carrying the e-way bill, whenever there is a mobile check, they can just flash the e-way bill and they can have a smooth transportation. So e-way bill, in a way, will help the dealers, and these random checks will not be a means of harassment. Actually, they are basically to detect the evasion. So if someone is not carrying the e-way bill, not carrying the proper invoices, of course they'll be detected and action will be taken against them. But basically, this is for the smooth flow of goods from one place to another throughout the country without any checkposts. Yeah.
Okay, so that's as far as the e-way bill mechanism is concerned. Hari, a quick word from you. Perhaps around the 1st of October is what we're given to understand the rollout timeline could be. What would your key concerns be here? Well,
I mean, I'm not sure the jury is out on e-way bill. So, I mean, it might be smooth. I'm still worried about the 50,000 threshold value they have spoken about. Yes, there is checks that are required, but will the squads now start becoming overactive is a question they'll have to wait and watch. And at least if they do it consistently across states in a similar manner, it'll still be better than what is happening today. Because each state is trying to do exactly what they want to do. I just came from a meeting, and that's exactly what they're saying, is that you might as well have some consistency. But how smooth the e-way bill will be, yes, there will be no check posts, but will the squads get overactive or not is the question that we'll have to wait and watch. So that jury is still not out. But I would still like a consistent process with a higher threshold across all states.
Fair point that you make, Hari, and I think that's a concern that a lot of people have raised, that there should be consistency, and these state-led mobile squads should not actually lead to discretion and harassment at the end of the consumer. But let me talk to you now, Mr. Singh, about the anti-profiteering clause in specific and the decisions that were taken by the GST Council. The Council has decided to set up anti-profiteering committees. Now, we already have a mechanism and a structure in place on dealing with anti-profiteering as part of the GST law. So what is the need for these steering committees? What will be the composition of these steering committees? What role will they play? Explain this to us, sir.
With the implementation of the GST, the main concern was if the rates of goods, rates of taxes are coming down, the benefit should be passed to the consumers. So anti-profiteering measure is an effort to see that wherever there is reduction in rate of taxes or there is benefit from input tax credit, it should be passed on to the consumers. So if it is not done, then the anti-profiteering authority will come into action, and government has issued rules to set up a anti-profiteering authority. There will be 4 members in the authority, 1 chairman and 4 members.
But that's my question, sir. You already have in the law provisions for a pricing authority. So what is this steering committee supposed to be doing exactly? What will be the exact role of these steering committees? What is the mechanism now going to be?
I'll explain. At the top level will be the anti-profiteering authority, consisting of 1 chairman and 4 members. There will be a standing committee. There will be a standing committee consisting of 4 members. 2 members will be from the central government CEBC officers, and 2 members will be from the states. There will be screening committee in each and every state. Now the main work of the standing committee is to scrutinize the applications and the complaints which are received from all over the country. Likewise, screening committee which are operational in the state, which will be operational actually in the states, will be receiving complaints and applications in the state level also. So there is a two-way system. if the complaints are issued by the standing committee, they can take decision on their own, or they can refer the complaints and applications to the state screening committees. On the other hand, if the applications and complaints are issued by the state screening committee, they will analyze, they will scrutinize those applications and complaints on the basis of records available with them. They will make recommendation to the standing committee. Ultimately, it is the standing committee which will decide which application or complaint is worth pursuing and whether it is fit for referring it for a detailed investigation. Now, once a decision has been taken by the standing committee to refer an application or a complaint for detailed investigation, it will make a reference to the Directorate General of Safeguards. Now, DG Safeguards, which is under the CBEC, has been interested with the task of completing detailed investigation. They have been given all these, timelines have been prescribed. Standing committee has a timeline of 2 months. Within 2 months, they have to take a decision whether an application or a complaint is, fit to be referred for detailed investigation. So within 2 months, they have to take a decision. Once a decision has been taken to refer it to the DG Safeguard, they will make detailed investigations about the complaint. They will take into consideration all the records available with the complainant. A chance will also be given to the person against whom the complaint has been made, and after a detailed investigation, 3 months period has been given to them. They will make a recommendation to the authority who will pass appropriate order on the basis of the detailed investigation conducted by the DG Safeguards.
All right, sir. Well, thanks very much for explaining the mechanism. Hari, a quick word on this standing committee, steering committee, pricing, anti-profiteering authority, and how it's going to work.
Yeah, Shireen, it's a rarity, anti-profiteering. And I'll tell you, from what I know, and we discussed this in our last conversation also, our last session also, companies are passing, are doing all that they can do to obey the law and to kind of comply with the law.
Sure.
And there are two aspects to it. One is the headline rate changes and the input tax credit deficiency. Both cases, as far as I know, whether sectors that I am talking to or anybody that you see in the industry, people are trying to pass it on in the best possible way, so as to comply with the law. Now the question is, if there is a complaint, this could be either a 2-stage process or a 3-stage process, like
Mr. Singh just pointed out.
If somebody goes directly to a standing committee, it could be a 2-stage process. If somebody goes to a state committee, it could be a 3-stage process. One thing which is good is that only after the screening is done by the standing committee at the center will at all be referred to DG Safeguards. Otherwise, DG Safeguards could have a plethora of cases that they will try investigating, and a 2-month period is what they have said for it to deliver its what you call its judgment or whatsoever term you may use for now. So in my view, I hope that the screening committee entertains complaints, vets them correctly, and only refers those cases where they believe there is a case for investigation. But in my view, most companies that I know of
are passing
on the benefits on both the input tax credit side and on the headline rate.
Well, on that note, we are going to take a break. Mr. Mahinder Singh, many thanks for joining us here on CNBC TV 18 special broadcast. When we return from this break, Naveen Kumar, Chairman of the GSTN, joins us for a status check. That and more when we return.
चढ़ गई हमारी बिल्ली बीबी जी दूध
This is a Pareto chart.
Plus 50.
As 16s grapple for glory, whose fortunes will rise in the east.
Go ahead.
People who get out of North Korea.
Plus 50. Fantastic!
Cash Tata Crucible The Campus Quiz 2017 Kolkata Final. At these times, only on CNBC TV 18.
Presented by Tata. Leadership with trust. From learning design in New York to finding his calling in Ayurveda. Meet Vivek Sani, who's turned the ancient science of Ayurveda over its head and made it glamorous.
Hi, I'm Vivek Sani. Catch me on CNBC TV 18 Weekender.
What has been the experience so far? If I were to ask you about the 1 month report card of the GST rollout.
Well, the first week or so was a bit lukewarm. As time went by, I think we're now slowly starting to pick up and business is getting back to normal.
All the indicators are okay, nothing alarming. But it's an incredibly complex system.
We need to really see how will GST function when people start uploading their statements.
Distributors are demanding that GST should provide a higher margin for them.
Everybody is clear about passing on the benefits.
Vanja Sarna, the CBEC chief, very categorically she has clarified rate revision is something that the government is not looking at right now unless there is a justified case. That enforcement is definitely not there, but yes, government is keeping a close watch on any such issue which will trouble consumers.
Exclusively on CNBC TV 18. Follow the leader.
EPCO, simplifying lives.
Start a good habit today. Invest in mutual funds and aim to grow your wealth. Reliance Mutual Fund and CNBC TV 18 present Mutual Fund Day, Mission Prosperity on 9th August at Coimbatore.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Welcome back. You're watching Eye on India. Now, businesses can start filing their first tax returns under the new goods and services tax regime on the GST network portal. As of the 5th of August, the GST network is accepting the GSTR 3B form containing a summary of self-assessed tax liabilities with consolidated details of outward supplies and input credit. But the big test will be the 20th of August, which is the last date for filing of returns for the month of July. Is the GST network prepared for the deluge of filings? Let's ask those questions to Naveen Kumar, the chairman of the GST network. Mr. Kumar, thanks very much for joining us. Just a few days ago in an exclusive conversation with me, Vishal Sikka, the CEO of Infosys, says that he feels confident of being able to address the challenge of the filings being uploaded. And of course, everyone is bracing themselves for the 20th of August. What has the experience been so far with the GSTR 3B, sir?
Yeah, you see, the GSTR 3B, which is the first return that will be filed in the new GST regime. It's an interim return where summary level data is to be provided by the taxpayers with regard to their outward sales, their purchases, their input tax credit, and the tax that they will be paying. So this will come during this month. The deadline is 20th August. So we have started the window for filing of the returns from the 5th August. So it is already live now.
And what has been the experience since you started, sir? As you pointed out, it started on the 5th of August. What's been the experience so far? Because there were concerns on account of this.
Yeah, people have started coming, but the flow is very, very slow, I must say. Because until now we have received only 16,000 returns on the portal, and these two taxpayers have only come to the website. They have put in their data and they have saved it. They have not submitted it because they have to first make tax payment before submission. So that is still to come. So in fact we have been urging upon the taxpayers not to wait until the last day to file their returns. They should come and file. The window is open and the facility is available.
Is there a possibility, Mr. Kumar, given what you are saying, that the flow has been very slow and barely 16,000 returns have been filed as of now, do you feel that maybe you will have to extend the August 20th timeline, sir?
See, that is not in our hands. We have been told that 20th is the deadline. So we have our facility available. Postponement, etc., that is the work of the government. Government takes decisions on those issues. But there is still time. We are on 8th. We still have 12 days to go.
Well, but that's the other concern, sir. If you see a deluge coming in perhaps towards the fag end and maybe even on the last day, do you fear that the system will be able to cope with it?
We have designed the system keeping that in mind. We had studied the behavior of the taxpayers under income tax and VAT, and we know that about a very large number of taxpayers come on the last 2 days. So we have designed our system keeping that in mind. So our system will be able to withstand, but the taxpayers who come at the last moment, they will experience some delays. So it is advisable for them that they should do this as soon as possible and not wait until the last days.
Okay, do it as soon as possible. Hari, a quick comment on what you're hearing from the GSTN chief in terms of the experience so far with the 3B filings.
The first deadline or the asset test is going to be August 20th. As far as the summarized returns are concerned. And like Mr. Naveen Kumar rightly said, it's an interim process till you really start filing your normal GSTR 1-2 transaction level details. So yes, we'll have to wait and watch, because the challenge that I see is that many of the large companies will have to go directly to the portal. If that's the only solution that is available, because as of now, the GSPs, which they will normally would have gone, large companies, especially when you go to transaction level reporting, from a 3B perspective, those sandbox testings are expected to begin this week as far as GST is concerned. So if they have to go directly and they go late, there will be a deluge, as you generally will see even today under the VAT or other regimes. So there will be that degree of a challenge, because when you have big loads that you have to upload in a short window period of time, you'll have those challenges, and those are the initial teething problems. So I would say we'll have to wait and watch, and then you also have a long weekend coming next week. Three holidays. Though I don't believe GSTN should be able to upload that. I don't know whether they are open on those days. So you'll have to wait and watch as to what happens, because this is a real asset test as to 8 million odd SSCs, all filing 3B on 20th.
That's right. Mr. Kumar, I'm given to understand that there has been a meeting that the Revenue Secretary has had along with other officials as well as officials of the GSTN to take stock of where things currently stand. August 20th will be the first litmus test, and then you of course have September 5th, and then you have September 20th. So in terms of concerns that may have been raised, in terms of a status check that's been done, sir, can you share any details with us?
The first thing I want to tell you is that GSTN, the portal, remains open all the time. It will never close. Weekends don't mean anything to the portal. Portal is running 24/7. Therefore, the taxpayers can come anytime and they can file their return. You see, this return is very simple because there are no invoices, etc. involved over here. Only the data is to be filled in this form only. So it's simple summary return. And therefore, it won't take much time for taxpayers to, fill this return and pay the tax. Therefore, that kind of congestion I do not expect. But of course, if the entire traffic comes on the last 3 days, then there would be heavy load on the system. But our system is prepared for that, and we'll be able to handle that. That we can assure.
Okay. Mr. Kumar, any tweaks, any further changes that are required to be made as far as the GSTN is concerned, sir? Because we were given to understand that, there were certain bugs which have now been tweaked, etc. But any issues that you're facing, any further debugging that's required at this point in time? No, not with regard to the GSTR 3B.
You see, when people come to the portal and start working, they may feel some problems. These problems may be because of various reasons. It may be because of the software in their computer. It may be because of connectivity. It may be because of their lack of knowledge regarding how to work at the system. So when that happens, they can come to our help desk, and they can pose their problem over there, and the agent at the help desk will walk them through the process and help them. So that is what is happening. We have a 400-seat help desk running from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day, which is responding to the calls of all the taxpayers.
Okay, Hari has one final question for you, sir.
Sir, Mr. Kumar, I just wanted to ask you, what is the plan as regards a 3B filing happening through GSPs,
We have, we have given them the APIs. We have told them that they should also help their clients, file the 3B return. But let us see how they proceed. Out of the 34 GSPs, 18 have already connected to our system through MPLS connectivity, and they are now ready to, provide services to their clients. I am following up with the other GSPs also that they should also, come on board. So that is the position at this point of time. But you see, the GSTR 3B is being a simple form. If the GSPs are not able to provide the service this time, it is possible for all the taxpayers to come to the portal and fill up this form. But we hope that these 18 GSPs who have already connected to our system, they will be able to do this for their clients.
All right, Mr. Naveen Kumar, we'll have to leave it there. Appreciate you joining us here, and we wish you the very best of luck for the 20th of August. Hari, as always, thank you very much. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Eye on India. We'll see you again next time. Till then, from all of us here on the team, goodbye and many thanks for watching.
Presented by EY, building a better working world.